The parents of a student from Nottingham who took her own life watched a debate in Parliament today as part of their campaign calling for universities to take on a statutory duty of care. 20-year-old Natasha Abrahart from West Bridgford had a chronic social anxiety disorder. She died at Bristol University in 2018.
There are 160 student suicides every year, and while schools and workplaces have a statutory duty of care, universities do not. Our political correspondent Alison Mackenzie met the family and sent this report.
Natasha Abrahart was a bright student with a bright future, but her chronic social anxiety disorder made the prospect of having to deliver a verbal presentation to fellow students on her physics course at Bristol University unbearable. She took her own life. The university was found to be in breach of the Equality Act for not taking Natasha's disability into account. But when it comes to the broader statutory duty of care to all students, there is none. Parent campaigners who've lost students, 160 die each year, raised a petition calling for change. Today, Natasha's parents from Nottingham watched as the Rushcliffe MP presented the case in Parliament.
Now, we should be clear that a statutory duty of care would not require universities to act in loco parentis, nor would it require them to provide unlimited services or assume clinical responsibilities. Rather, it would instead establish a clear baseline that universities must act reasonably with appropriate care and skill when harm is foreseeable and vulnerability is evident.
MPs from all over the country shared similar stories of loss, but the minister in reply stopped short of sanctioning the requirement to make the duty of care statutory.
It is not just a question of drafting. It would require defining a minimum legal standard for universities, which risks becoming a ceiling rather than a floor. And I would draw members' attention to some of the evidence provided in the 2023 Petitions Committee hearing on statutory duty of care, where a number of stakeholders expressed a range of concerns and scepticism about the unintended effects of a statutory duty of care.
No big yes, but a positive response from Natasha's parents.
We had wide cross-party support, more parties than last time. We had four-nation support. We didn't have that last time either. So the conversation is moving forward in the right direction. The issue with the government minister is that he needs to catch up.
Natasha had a very good idea of wanting right for wrong, and she would very much support things that made life better for students. She would not want other people to suffer the way that she suffered unnecessarily, because universities didn't have to do anything.
Well, Natasha Abrahart's parents closing that report from Alison, and Alison joins us now. So, Alison, what happens next?
Well, firstly, that statement from Bristol University where Natasha sadly took her own life, they're saying tonight we care deeply about all our students and staff, which is why the mental health and well-being of our community is at the heart of decision-making across the university. They add the provision of appropriate, accessible services and interventions is very important to them. But on a broader issue, the universities generally think that a statutory right would actually be restrictive. They fear that staff would be concentrating too much on not being made liable for anything rather than acting on the compassionate need for help and support. So they feel it'd be something of a tick box culture. They say they don't need that. There's lots of action, provision, preparedness for mental health concerns. So they say rely on that. But the government's heard loud and clear that call for a statutory requirement for a duty of care. So it's a bit in conflict. I suspect the campaign will go on, and front and centre will be Natasha's parents.
Alison, thank you very much.